Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We're in week 6 already of the season. Just flies by.
It's flying by.
And you know, when it flies by, it's not so good to be 2-2-1 because you start to find yourself in a not too great position. Although in the NFC North, you know, it's not the end of the world. But
no, you beat the team that's in first, so you're in good shape.
Yeah, but man, they are coming off, I would say, 2 subpar offensive performances, except for the, you know, the yardage was fine against Detroit, but boy,
Yeah.
this was a lost opportunity, I think.
Yeah, and the thing about it, as defensively, I think Detroit was last in the red zone. They had 4 touchdowns. I mean, regardless of whether, and the offense put them in some bad places, and we get that. But you got to hold them to field goals on the road if you want to be a great defense. Now, statistically, I think the Packers' total yardage is like 5 or something going into the game. But it's the scoring defense, to me, tells a lot when guys are getting touchdowns. You know, the 60-yarders, you know, those are the kind of plays that gives coaches headaches. And please stay tuned for X's and O's because there's a lot of things you don't see on television that if you're not watching the film, you could probably blame the wrong guy. And you can also know how it shows really how well the coaching is, you know, how well it is or how bad it is. And one thing I wanted to say real quick, because after going back to Buffalo, Aaron was very upset with, obviously, they won, but he said we should have more points and more yards. Okay, I get it. This game, he threw for 400, a couple of touchdowns. He seemed a little bit be more relaxed, but you lost. So there's some inconsistency there.
Right.
I think that's fair to put that out there. I think it's fair to say that. But again, as long as you have number 12, you always have a chance to win. I don't know if you can always say that anymore, Tom. I don't think people are respecting the process of just because you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, I won't just rush 3 and play coverage and just let you throw. Almost like let Michael Jordan get 50. I don't want the other guys to beat me.
Right.
And that's what it's turning into.
So I think that Rodgers is a quarterback playing hurt, like some quarterbacks have to. But I think he's trying to play like Aaron Rodgers of the past in the body of Aaron Rodgers who's hurt. And there's some things he can't do with this knee, and one of them is scramble. I mean, he's just not – we saw him get sacked twice going out of the pocket. He's got to – don't you think he needs to stay in the pocket a little bit more and get rid of the ball and play a little faster pace? I
think he should go through his progression. If it's 3rd or 2nd and 1, just go to your check down. But he'll wait for something longer and get sacked. And that's been a lot of quarterbacks' problems. I mean, he's the fastest guy in less games for 40,000. Congratulate him for that. You see a guy like Drew Brees who gets over 71,000 yards and stuff like that. A lot of that's made off of check downs. Let your athletes take off and run. Just get it out to the guys. And we saw some plays that probably drive coaches nuts. When it's 2nd and 1 and we call a play to go deep and they have 2 guys back there waiting, okay, great. We'll take the check down, get the first down, we can line up again.
Move up and live again.
But when he holds on to the ball a little bit more to get the big yardage, then, you know, it just makes the offensive line – it's like they're not protecting, but they are. He's outside the pocket. And the one time he got hurt was outside the pocket.
So we've seen the connection he has with Devontae Adams. Obvious, Devontae Adams had a great game other than one ball.
Tom, can jam him. 17, I know he had a bad drop, but nobody, Slay, he was giving Slay a hard time. And he's one of the top corners. But I think, to me, the 3 rookies going into this game, you had to understand they were going to play a lot in this game.
Yeah.
Without Geronimo Ellison and Cobb.
I actually think they weren't going to play a lot. I mean, they were going to play.
But it wasn't going to get no
But
balls.
the second half, they had to play almost every down because they were in such catch-up mode. And I'm not sure that the whole playbook was really, like, open to them. Scantling probably, because he played a lot last week. But they probably thought, okay, we'll get Jamon Moore and Equinemius St. Brown in on certain packages and then run them. But they ended up having to play the whole second half.
Yeah,
They did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I like
St. Brown.
Scantling. I mean, he had an opportunity to get a couple touchdowns, but he seems to be the more polished one.
Yeah.
St. Brown seems to be a little raw, but man, he made a great play on the caught a 6 route and just exploded. Jamon Moore didn't get any targets, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's chemistry.
No confidence in him yet.
Yeah, right. I don't know if
know.
he's lining up properly, but he seemed to have everything the other two guys want all into one, but 83 has distanced himself from those guys. So he's going to continue to get those looks.
Okay, so I want to talk about so he has this relationship with Adams. He's growing with the other guys. Allison, he definitely has a good relationship. Cobb he's had, but Jimmy Graham, they seem to be off, like no connection whatsoever. How do they get on board?
Well, Aaron had some great throws to Jimmy Graham in this game. He did it, and Jimmy Graham dropped a couple.
Yeah, there's one in the end zone that went right through his hands.
That was a great throw by Aaron. I don't think many quarterbacks can make that throw because it has to be high and outside, and he threw it. Aaron is one of the best throwers in and out of the pocket, but he leads his receiver to throw him open, and he was trying to throw him open. And Jimmy Graham, they got to get on the same page, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, because then we go back and look at another play, and they've got he's got Jimmy Graham wide open, and he doesn't throw it to him.
Yeah.
You know, right in for a touchdown.
Yeah, there's a couple ones that I'm sure he wants to have back when he watches the film, as we did. But it's easier for us to say that watching it. But if you're a quarterback and you have that clock in your head, and again, it's always the short guys that he passes up to go deeper. But if you're going to go deep, there was a chance in the end zone for him to hit, 17 on that back line, and he chose not to because maybe he thought Devontae was going to turn and go back, which he did. But you can lead him open, and they could have won that game. And I'm not going to get into the field goals because that's different. I mean, it's like a pitcher. He gives a 3 home run. Do you still run him out there on his next start? Of course you do. But they could have won that game. And that's a game that I think they've beaten these guys. Detroit's won like 2 consecutive times. This last game.
Detroit's beaten them 3 straight.
3 straight.
3 straight times.
I don't think you can ever say that in a long time in the Aaron Rodgers era, Mike McCarthy era. And everybody watches these films. We get that. Because San Francisco's going to watch this tape, and they got Garoppolo's not there. They're going to figure they can do the same thing. So you're going to see some of the same things all over again.
Okay. Well,
don't even blitz Aaron Rodgers. Just play coverage.
Nobody's blitzing him. No.
Nope.
Just play coverage.
Just play coverage.
Which leads me to the next question, which is about Aaron Jones. And a lot of people think McCarthy should have played him a lot more in the second half on Sunday against the Lions. What do you think?
I think that you're going to have to either commit to him or just let him stay in his role. And his role will be a limited role because if he can't pass protect the way they want him, then he can only come in on, just first down, maybe second down, third down, he's going to come out. And Montgomery's going to fill that role. You would like for him to be a 3-down back, but he has to protect. He has to know the progressions, and you have to have the chemistry with Aaron for checkdowns.
Yeah.
Go up spot, hang on to that spot, and you're the bailout guy. They have to use him like Kamara. They uses him in New Orleans, or they use Barkley.
But Kamara is a lot better receiver.
Than
Aaron Jones is.
But we won't ever know what kind of receiver he is if you don't throw it to him.
Yeah.
So. But I also like Jamal Williams as the Punisher. So I like a lot what they're doing, but Aaron Jones is just so much talent sitting on the sideline. He can be the guy, the Chris Thompsons of the world in Washington. He fits all in that round. But those guys get more targets to him, and those guys play more than him.
I was the biggest proponent of Aaron Jones at the beginning of the year. I mean, I was urging McCarthy to run him in my column. But I will say this. that game was not built for Aaron Jones. Once they got behind 24-0, they needed guys who could pass block and do something with the ball. And Montgomery's probably the best of that combination. You know, we saw him on that kickoff return. We saw him on some shorter pass, catch and runs.
And he's a great protector.
But this game, assuming that it's close or that the Packers don't fall behind by 3 touchdowns right away, this will be, to me, the game that determines how McCarthy uses Aaron Jones. Like this, to me, will be
the template.
It'll indicate the indicator of how much he plans to really use Aaron Jones. Because if you're not behind, then man, you got to get. If they're going to play coverage, you got to run the ball.
Run the ball. But that's the patience. You run the ball and you dink and dunk it, and just move the chains.
Right.
Eventually, I play defense. You'll get out of that and get more aggressive because you wind your clock management is great. Field position changes. Didn't even punt. So the field position, you lost that game. So when you're down 17, you don't need to get the big chunk back. You can grind your way out. Because losing teams like Detroit, they'll open the door for you. But you just can't slam the door on your own foot.
And they kind of did. You know, they kind of did. So first drive out of the second half, Packers drive down, touchdown. And they gave them opportunities.
They only scored 7 points the second half. So you had, if the field goals were off, okay, you need touchdowns. You can be patient and still run the football. You're getting 7 to 8 yards a pop. Now you can get into your play action more. You can do that, but play action won't work with Aaron Jones because no defense thinks you're going to throw it to him. So now you got to put Montgomery in there or Jamal Williams for a defensive safety to really think I'll come up as a play action.
Right. And you definitely have to. I just think the longer you keep a team out on the field too, the better off you're going to be in the long run. So keep those drives going, and sometimes you do short stuff help you keep it going.
But just don't get discouraged, because I know a lot of stuff that's going to be said about players or coaches in the media. You got to ignore that stuff, and you just have to play. You have to be on a national stage, which you're going to do Monday night. I'll do my score here in a minute. But you have to let America know that I'm still a relevant team. You don't want people to think that you're in decline. So you have to go out and beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And that was the team you were supposed to beat. Not so much by the record, because they just won one game, which was against New England. It's because you always have beaten these guys that you're giving them an opportunity. More and more you let them hang around, they're going to get more confidence. And now this whole division is starting to change. Because, you know, now Chicago and Detroit are starting to come up, and you see Minnesota and Green Bay not playing well, although Minnesota beat Philly to go 2-1. They didn't play all that great. So we're going to see about that.
And this is to me, this is probably the most critical moment of the season. I think it'll turn out to be, because you got San Francisco, a winnable game. Then you have a bye to figure out what's gone wrong on your offense. And your what you can do, how much you can use, all that good stuff. And then you go to
and get Aaron more rest.
Get Rodgers healthy. Then you go to the Rams. Then you go to New England. Then you got I can't remember who's after that, but and then you've got Seattle on the road.
And then you got New England coming up. You got Atlanta coming up. You got some games that you got to get healthy for, but it's going to determine pretty quickly, because you started
right after the bye. We'll know who they are because they're going to have to play some really tough games. And hopefully they can hit the ground running. But again, you got to stay positive. You got to make the corrections. Because everybody looks at this tape. But I think San Francisco should be a bright game for them. And I think they'll win this game 24-10. And that would be a game that I love that graphic. That was awesome.
I know Bill's. I mean, I would give him a raise, but we have no money. We have absolutely
that thing almost hit me in the head.
If it would have hit you in the head, it would have never have made the screen. Trust me, you got a big head.
It would hit you in the face. It might have helped a little bit.
It might have. They should beat these guys. But
they should.
You never know anymore, though. The NFL is starting to change. You got a quarterback you haven't seen. I mean, you don't know. Don't take anybody lightly. You have to win the games you're supposed to win, especially at home.
So, here comes another football.
And congratulations to the Brewers. You know, that's why I got my Brewer hat on. You know, it's been a long time since, you know, you can say that you're a champion of anything, especially, I think, one of the hardest divisions, the Central. So congratulations to those guys. You got rid of all those Cub fans. I love seeing that. And then sweeping Colorado. So congratulations to the Brewers. And hopefully, and that really took the sting out of this loss, knowing that the Brewers played right after the Packers and swept Colorado. That took a little bit of sting out of it. But when you watch the tape, as we did on X's and O's, the sting came back.
Yeah, it did for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for telling everybody that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Don't forget to check in with X's and O's, where we'll have a couple of really, I thought, telling plays from the Lions game.
Yep.
See you next time.